Hello, everybody. This is part two of the Twister live stream. Yes, there were some technical difficulties, different opinions, and technical difficulties. But the show must go on. So we are back. Don't worry, we'll be back later. So, the fairy had to go back to his cove for a little bit, but he will be back. Well, yeah. So, um, the the movie Twister happened to create such a iconic thing for itself that even kids nowadays, or adults, teenagers, old people, probably they all love the film. It's become a staple of our culture when it comes to a classic film like that, to an awesome film. It is the best of something. I'll still get to it in the future of this live stream. I'll get into it. And if the one viewing is someone that was in the last one, the fairy is in the toilet. So, yeah. So you just have to wait for him to give you the link. Yeah. We got a fairy in the toilet, people. We got a fairy in the toilet. So, yeah. So, the fairy will be back. So, as I was saying, Twister is such a wonderful movie that really feels like a summertime movie. It's iconic and it does not need a sequel. I mean, who could really imagine doing a sequel that's worth watching in the theater without Bill Paxton? And really, isn't Helen Hunt? I mean, I don't know if she can run better than Harrison Ford. Now, I'm just saying, I haven't seen any films where she's been running lately. I mean, we, so I'm just saying the film needs to, I don't know. No offense to Helen Hunt. No offense. I'm just saying, I don't see how it could work with the original cast. Maybe they will introduce a new cast. I don't know. Like I said, no offense to Helen Hunt, but nobody asked for a sequel to the best. Well, we'll get into that. But yeah, it was a really good film. It's a film that people can watch even to this day, and it stays as relevant as it was. It can be seen as a kind of biographical film of what probably happened with the real life people that actually did this, or it could be seen as a summertime action film slash romantic film, but it fits into so many genres, and also good for just people going through stuff or whatever. But it's a film that just is really, really good for any summertime. And yeah, it's a really, really, really good film. Well, I hope the monkey did not. Ah, I hope the fairy did not fall in the toilet. Fairy down. We got a fairy down. Well, yeah, but so it has a wonderful soundtrack. No matter what time of the year, I think the soundtrack is still pretty good to listen to. Yeah, soundtrack is awesome. The show, the everything is relevant. The love affair, the love triangle, the fact that she gets him back in the end, which kind of was her plan all along. The Shania Twain song, the just all of it really goes so well together. But the only thing I didn't like about that scene was that when she's in the diner, her biggest, well, I said it in the first part that what I didn't like about it, but yeah, one line they definitely do not need on the back cover of the steelbook is if you have to um I forget what it is, but it's like they say like no, it's Helen Hunt saying to her that if she has to go, she better pee now. That line they definitely do not need to have on the back cover. Yep, definitely not. But um, but yeah, it's just a really it's I have not seen a film about twisters that's better than that one. I'd say I'd even would rank it better than even a C one such as the Poseidon Adventure. Yeah, Twister just is it's more rewatchable than the Poseidon Adventure in my opinion, and it's probably the most rewatchable disaster film out there. I mean, think of all the disaster films: Volcano, uh, the other ones that are out there. And yes, I know them. I'm just trying not to anger Ken. Yeah, because they're in his picks. But I've always loved Twister so much. I've always loved it from the moment it came out. Heck, I actually got the movie given to me for when it first came out. I watched it. First, I watched yeah. First, I watched Jumanji, and then I watched this one, and it was actually really good. And yes, I know I mentioned Jumanji in my last stream, but yeah, that's rewatchable too. Um, yeah, so you could even do like 1 year watch Twister and then Jumanji, or Jumanji then Twister, and then the next year watch Twister and then Casper. Yeah, or Jumanji and Casper. To be fair, they both have a whole bunch of wind towards the end, you know? So, yeah, but yeah, and I really cannot wait till it gets 4K. It's going to be spectacular. I just, I don't know, but I already said a lot in part one of the stream, but uh, yeah. So as far as well, I hope the fairy shirt gets back. It would be a shame to put on its gravestone, "Fairy lost in toilet." Yep. So yeah. Well, and don't worry, people. I'm not making fun of the type of person that's actually my co-host is the fairy king. So yeah. So I'm not just making a joke. It's the actual fairy. It's the actual person who's the fairy king. So yeah. But he was in part one if you're interested. But let's see. Try to see if I got a. Oh, so um, let's see. I also think that hmm, I think the dog was pretty good in the movie. Yeah, the dog was really good, and Oh, let's see other guests. Oh, there's the fairy. Okay, there you are. You did not get lost in the toilet. Welcome back.
I've been here the whole time.
Well, I didn't see you down there.
Been waiting for you to see me.
Well, a fairy only appears when the person is ready. So, as I was saying, the I really liked the dog in the movie, but do you think they used the same dog? I mean, is there a way to make the dog look older, or are those chemicals just, or are dogs allergic to those chemicals and they just had to use one dog for the beginning and then a different dog for the scenes where they're at Meg's farm.
I don't think they use the same dog.
Would it be interesting if they used a pup and her mother?
Yes, that would be interesting.
Let's see. So I've seen there's a couple of comments. Oh, well, to be fair, after seeing your comment, the father didn't want to let the dog in anyway. Remember, she had to be like, "Where's Toby? Where's Toby?" And the mother had to be like, "Let him in." So there was trouble with the dog getting into. Well, um, what did you think about the fact that they ended up leaving all the food behind that was on the? They didn't even go back for the sodas. I mean, that that therapist was probably parched, and she still ended up doing the. I think she only got the cell phone call. What after they left all the drinks and the things up top on the vehicle? I'm just saying, I don't think that therapist got a lot to eat or drink during her whole experience. No wonder by the time it was in, it probably just wasn't billed. She was probably like, I want to get something to drink and eat. And as long as I'm with these people, I'll keep forgetting my doggone food on the vehicle. Fairy King, are you there?
I'm here.
Fairy, okay. Almost had to alert. We had a fairy down. Fairy down. Um, so, um, if if you had a chance to, like, when they release it on 4K, do you want them to re-release the soundtrack in like in a better quality? Like, can you imagine the soundtrack like re-released, restored, and remastered? That score, they could do it again. You know, they actually did it to when they re-released. Oh, I mean, didn't you hear they re-released the soundtrack of The Lost Boys and actually made it pretty good? And they even released it on vinyl, a vinyl record. Yeah. So I think it would actually be pretty good if they released the 4K and the soundtrack again, and even the score, or maybe a two disc record with the score on one record, and the soundtrack on the other. I think it could be really good. And they could use one poster for they could use the original cover art for the poster for the soundtrack, and they could use the other poster for the 4K. But yeah, I think it would be really good. And hmm, but 1 second. Okay. Um. So, what was your favorite part of the like when you did you like the I actually really liked this scene where they're all having dinner and it kind of hashes the characters out a bit. You know, we get the backstory of Bill a bit more. We find out about their glory days, their earlier days of chasing down twisters, and how much of a, as he called it, evil Bill he was. And but I really like that scene. Probably besides, as I said in part one, I probably like the scene at the that dinner scene. I probably liked it as well. I mean, almost as much as the last 10 minutes. Almost as much as the last 10 minutes of the film. But hmm, um, well, the audience. Hold on for a second. I have a technical difficulty I'm trying to sort out. Um, um, technical difficulty, folks. Technical difficulties. In case of an emergency, look at the exits to your left and to your right. And in the case of a crash, your seat can be used as a flotation device. And if not, just use the barf bag. Yeah. Technical difficulties, folks. Technical difficulties.
Awkward silence.
Yes. Look through the wind. I sent you a message. It should appear in the smoke signal.
No, he did not.
Okay. Somebody was more vocal. Somebody was supposed to write it in where I sent it to you. Ah, it's okay, folks. God was supposed to make an appearance, but he couldn't make it. He had to save a village in South Africa, where they should be filming another movie. In fact, we know that they get good rates down there, since all films cannot be filmed in Georgia, because that's where Netflix films. Heyo. Yeah, the only one that can answer for the twisters is God. Yeah, it's okay. But so, what's your prediction? Do you think the movie's going to fail a sequel? Or do you think it'll make decent money for people that are hoping to see some of the original cast? Or do you think they'll just go to see it just because it's another movie about tornadoes and storm chasing? Since we haven't really gotten one at least for a year. No, I think we got one recently, but yeah, that was going to be a surprise for anybody interested. Yes, I own it. The one that came out recently about the tornado, I own it. I don't have it by me right now, but I own the newest one. I forget what it's called, but it was supposed to be dedicated to Bill Paxton. It had a nod in it to him, and yeah, but hmm. Well, hmm, let's take a moment to acknowledge. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Your movie was wonderful. It's a perfect summer movie, which I actually watch every single time there is a tornado. Every single time we have a tornado warning, I watch it. I put it on. Every single time. The moment I hear there's a tornado warning, I always put it on. And believe it or not, it never touches me. The tornado passes me by every single time. Every single time that I've pushed play and watched a movie, I've never been it's never crushed me, the tornado. It always just passes me by. It's like that movie protects me. What do you say, fairies? What do you say, The Fairy King? Would you say that some movies offer the protection that normally other films would not? Or some films have that ability?
I don't know.
Like some say, if you play a record back, you hear spirits from the dead, or you hear hidden messages in it, or talks of like, people used to say, if you play a record backwards, there's a demonic message in it. So those were on records. These movies were also on all those big discs. Do you remember what they were called? Fairy King. Those big discs. Oh,
Vinyl
laser
records?
discs. Laser discs. So, and then they were turned into other formats. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that maybe watching the movie Twister detours in a way. Maybe it makes it so that maybe it's just a lucky charm that it will not touch you if you're watching the movie Twister. Could be. Maybe like, because when's the last time you heard somebody say, hey, I'm using hairspray while watching the movie Hairspray? You never hear that, do you?
No.
Maybe because it's, you know, I don't know, just a thought. But, and, um, trying to think, oh, and rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who played, Dusty. He was great in it too. So yeah, I don't think that unless they shot extra footage, like before Philip Seymour Hoffman's death, or Bill Paxton, like just in case they ever made another one. I don't think they, since we lost Dusty and we lost Bill, and yeah, since we lost Dusty and Bill, I really don't think the sequel called Twisters is really going to be worth watching. I mean, probably the only people that are going to want to watch it are ones that just go to watch the storm chasing, you know? Oh, where did the fairy go? Oh, where could he be? I
Yes, I
bet
know.
I know. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I bet I know where the fairy went. He went back to the fairy cove. So, for anybody wondering, where is the fairy cove? How about you tell these nice people where the fairy cove is and what what item is your best seller?
The Fairy Cove is the name of my shop. You can find the link to my shop in my link tree in my Instagram bio.
Well, trying to think. I will say, like a like a twister, this stream sure as flew by, but it flew by in two parts, just like anything in a twister. Everything always breaks up in a twister, right?
Yes, it does.
But for anyone that watches this, don't worry. I really hope. I don't know. I gotta say, I really don't think the sequel is gonna bring in the numbers they want. I don't even know why they're doing it. Maybe the people at Discovery Channel, maybe they bought the rights and maybe they bought the rights to the sequel. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe they bought the movie just to get people back into storm chasing because they might have an idea of how to bring the Storm Chasers TV series back. So after the Twisters sequel comes out, keep an eye on the Discovery Channel or the Weather Channel for them bringing back the show Storm Chasers. Keep an eye out because if that happens, that has to be the reason why they created or are creating a sequel to a beloved film that nobody ever wanted a sequel of this many years later. I mean, yeah. So this is the monkey, aka the Dark Tuber, and the Fairy King saying off. I'm gonna go climb up a tree, and he's gonna go back to his cove. So, yeah. Monkey and Fairy out.